So I just narrated an entire introduction and it was on photo instead of video. So obviously this high-tech stuff is not always me. I'm sitting here at this amazing Janome M17 machine, and I've got a new product from Janome to share. They asked me as a Janome artisan if I'd like to give it a try, and I said, heck yes! The adventure continues, and this time it's the Cutwork embroidery kit. You probably can't read that because I think it's doing mirror image. But anyway, in the kit you get a user guide, a download card with some QR codes on the back so you can download some files that are ready-made for you to give it a try. I used an embroidery patch that is the Janome M8 sewing machine, and that's another surprise that's coming later in the week. This handy-dandy little tool, you stick the needle in the tip and then you insert it because, as they keep reminding you, the tips are very sharp. Remember, you are going to be cutting fabric with this in your embroidery function, and this is the magic. They call these needles, but unlike regular sewing machine needles, these last a really long time. I'm not sure what price they retail for, but I've heard they're a little on the spendy side, but oh my gosh, are they cool. So keep watching, and here we go. The first thing I do is, once I've got the hoop in place on the machine, I go ahead and I run a basting stitch around the design. I'm getting ready to start the stitching, and the first thing I'm going to do is come down here to these little spools, and what that will do, will tell me how many stitches are in each of the colors. And then the really cool thing about this design is this is part of Janome's new Cutwork embroidery kit. And what these little things are, those are not sewing machine needles. Those are actually miniaturized chisels that are shorter than a sewing machine needle, and they're going to cut this patch out at the end. So let's go see what happens. Here's the first color we're going to start embroidering, which is a black colored thread. So I'm going to press, close out this here. I'm going to come down here and push the little flower, and it will show the crosshairs and tell you what's getting stitched first. So I'm going to press start, and there we go. And I've never embroidered on felt before, so this is going to be entertaining. It's putting down a base layer, and you can see it's doing a crosshatch on a diagonal grid, and that will help prevent the heavy infill from distorting the fabric. It's going to take a while to stitch out, so I'm going to hit stop, and I'll add another segment when I get to the thread change. Thought I'd zoom in again. It's a little loud, but you can see that once again the machine is outlining the area. It's done an underlay to avoid distortion, and now it's putting in a diagonal fill stitch. All right, now I'm working on the blue-tipped needle. Blue-tip chisel. Well, that was only a few stitches. Now I need to change to thread. Okay, I'm noticing new things as I go along. Over here, you can see that it's showing the red tip needle, and that's showing that it's going to give you the horizontal cutting. So here we go. Let's press start. The horizontal cuts. This is pretty nifty. I've been wanting to do a set of adulting badges, and boy, can I see how having this would be handy for cutting them out at the end. You can, once you learn how to do it, in the software, you can basically create an offset cutting line at the end and say that you want it, for example, 2 millimeters outside of the last stitching line, and echo whatever shape you've made your patch, and then it will cut it out nice and neat. Here, imagine what a time savings that would be. time to put the green needle in, and I'll be back after that one has finished doing its thing. I'm now on to the very last little bits. As you can see, there's a tiny frame that is sewn to the outside edge that matches the screen on the M7 and M8 machines. The previous instructions told me to remove the cut fabric, but obviously if I remove all of this stuff that goes all of the way around, this isn't going to stay hooped to anything. So I'm assuming they want me to leave the aqua mesh, the stabilizer that's in here on the back. And I know the stitching is only going to go around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this right here. I'm going to attempt to do this one-handed, which is always a dodgy proposition. And I am going to fold this out of the way. You can see right here that I lifted the flap back and it shows the patch. So I am going to hold that tail, press start, and let's see what happens. Alrighty. I'm going to press pause, and I'm going to trim this thread tail out of the way before it does something really annoying. And let's see if we can finish. Alrighty. Just doing an outline. Stop. Okay, that didn't work. I'll be back. Okay, I remembered that on some of the educational videos that I found online, you sometimes need to go ahead and put an extra layer of stabilizer underneath after you cut out the hole. Duh, Sarah, kind of makes sense, huh? So what I've done is I taped these edges where it pulled, literally just using Scotch tape. I'm going to put another piece of stabilizer on the back, and I'm going to tape that. Then I'm going to flip this hoop over, push it back. Okay, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Push it back into, I'm not very strong, I have arthritis. Okay, it's back in place. And what I've done is I've gone over here and I'm going to go backwards with the stitches. And I'm going to, we'll just let it go backwards. Okay, I'm up to the top side of here. I need to rethread the needle, and I'm going to bring it forward until I'm at about right there where it started to go cattywampus. And I will resume stitching and go all of the way around. I have picked this out, but it's pretty dense, and I don't want to cut the black stitching underneath. So I'm going to try to just go over the top, and then a little bit of Pigma Pen to the rescue once again. Okay, I'm holding the stitching. Here, I'm holding, looking over the top of the phone to make sure that I got everything aligned, and it's pretty okay. I'm going to press pause and trim that thread tail before it wreaks any havoc. Trim, trim. Start, and it looks to me like I'm just about done. Yep, I'm done. The machine tells me remove the needle, clean the hoop and plate. Yeah, I will do that after the fact. Let's release this. I'm going to pull it out. I will attempt to, okay, there. Unclamp the hoop, and we're going to pull it apart and see how it looks. That looks pretty amazing. I've got one more little spot down here that I need to trim at the bottom to release it. But anyway, I can't do this one-handed. I've got the extra stabilizer in there that I need to remove, and I'll show it to you as soon as I have two hands to work with. Ta-da! It's done, and I am thrilled. That is really pretty cool. I think I am going to, maybe I need to make a sewing bag or something, and I need to applique that to it. Anyway, I am really delighted with how easy that was. Even though I'm a complete newbie and I forgot a couple things that I needed to do in the process, like adding that extra stabilizer under the bottom to keep this aligned, I think that was fantastically easy, and I can see a lot of potential for this. I also think of Richelieu work, which is the kind of tablecloths that my mother used to have back in the 50s and 60s. And I think doing some cut work on garments, like around the hems of sleeves or something, would be really nifty. So stay tuned and let's see what I can figure out what to do. If you're on a Janome and you've got an embroidery machine, check to see if it's compatible with the Cutwork embroidery kit. A couple designs are included with the needle holder, the chisels, and then you can go figure out Artistic Digitizer or purchase Cutwork designs and go have fun.